The property market in 2025 is raising a lot of questions. Is it still a good time to buy? The past few years have shown us just how much the world can change, and now people are unsure if they should jump into the housing market or wait it out. In 2025, home prices are expected to increase by about 4% on average, but this varies by location. Some areas are still seeing steep price hikes, while others are more stable. Mortgage rates are another key factor. Right now, the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate is hovering around 6.5%. This is lower than the peak rates we saw in 2023, but still higher than we're used to. For buyers, this means higher monthly payments, making homes less affordable for many. It's clear that the market is shifting and people are holding on to their homes longer, which limits the number of properties available. So, is it worth buying in 2025? The answer depends on your situation, but in the next section, we'll look more closely at how mortgage rates can impact your decision. When you think about buying a home, one of the first things you consider is how much your mortgage will cost. Right now, mortgage rates in 2025 are stabilizing around 6.5% for a 30-year fixed-rate loan. While this is lower than the highs we saw in 2023, it's still a bit higher than the historical averages, making it harder for many buyers to afford a home. Higher mortgage rates mean bigger monthly payments, which impacts how much you can borrow. For example, if you were looking to buy a $300,000 0-cents home with a 6.5% mortgage rate, your monthly payment could be around $1.90. That's $400 0-cents more than it would be if the mortgage rate were 4%. This increase affects many buyers, especially first-time home buyers or those on a tighter budget. As rates stay high, fewer people are jumping into the market, which could slow price growth. But for those who can afford it, buying now could still be a good long-term investment. Next, we'll see how property prices are expected to change in 2025. If you're thinking about buying property in 2025, you might be wondering whether prices will go up or down. According to experts, home prices are expected to increase by about 4% on average in 2025. This might seem modest compared to the rapid increases in previous years, but it still means higher costs for potential buyers. Some areas, especially big cities and popular suburban regions, will likely see bigger price jumps. In places like New York, San Francisco, and London, housing demand remains strong, which keeps pushing prices up. On the other hand, some smaller markets or rural areas might see more stable prices as people move away from city centers. The increase in home prices is partly due to a shortage of available homes. With fewer properties on the market, competition remains fierce, and sellers can still ask for higher prices. This price growth might slow, but it won't disappear just yet. In the next section, we'll take a closer look at housing inventory levels and what that means for buyers. The number of homes for sale plays a huge role in whether it's a good time to buy. In 2025, housing inventory is still a major issue. Across many markets, there just aren't enough homes to meet demand, which keeps prices high. Homeowners are staying in their properties longer, and fewer new homes are being built, making the competition for available properties tough. In the US, for example, there's been a notable decrease in housing listings over the past few years. In 2024, the number of homes listed for sale dropped by 12%, and that trend is expected to continue into 2025. In cities with high demand like Los Angeles or New York, this lack of inventory means that prices will likely keep rising, even though overall market growth might slow down. On the flip side, areas with lower demand or fewer job opportunities might see less competition and more stable prices. As we move into the next section, we'll explore how inflation and wages are affecting the buying power of potential homeowners. Inflation continues to be a big issue in 2025, and it's impacting nearly every part of the economy, including real estate. Right now, inflation is sitting at around 3.5%, which means prices are generally higher across the board, from groceries to gas and even home prices. As prices rise, your dollar doesn't stretch as far, which makes buying property more challenging. Wage growth is another factor to consider. While wages have been growing slowly in recent years, they aren't keeping pace with rising home prices. In 2024, average wages in the U.S. rose by 4%, but that was still not enough to keep up with the 8% increase in home prices from the year before. This gap makes it harder for people to save for a down payment or qualify for a mortgage. In many places, people are also facing higher living costs, which affects how much they can afford to spend on a home. In the next section, we'll discuss the long-term investment potential of buying property in 2025 and how it could benefit you over time. Buying property isn't just about finding a place to live, it's also an investment. For many, the idea of building equity over time is a major reason to buy a home, even in a market with higher mortgage rates. As you pay down your mortgage, the equity in your home grows, meaning you own more of the property with each payment. In 2025, experts still see real estate as a solid long-term investment. Over the past few decades, property values have generally appreciated despite short-term ups and downs. Even though prices are expected to rise by 4% in 2025, that might still offer some good returns in the long run, especially if you plan on staying in the home for at least 5 to 10 years. Additionally, homeownership comes with other financial benefits like tax breaks and the ability to make improvements that increase the property's value. So if you're in a position to buy and can afford the higher mortgage payments, this might be a good time to invest. Let's now take a look at how regional differences could influence the decision to buy in 2025. When it comes to buying property in 2025, it's not just about global trends. It's about what's happening in your specific area. The real estate market can vary greatly depending on where you are. In the US, major cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Miami are still seeing high demand, with home prices expected to increase by 5 to 7%. This is due to a combination of strong job markets, limited housing supply, and a growing population. In the UK, property prices have been more stable but are still on the rise, especially in London and other large cities. The average house price in the UK is expected to increase by around 3% in 2025, which is slower than previous years but still significant. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, the real estate market is experiencing slower growth but remains a popular investment, especially in cities like Lahore and Islamabad. Prices here are expected to increase by around 4% as more people look for stable investments amid economic uncertainties. In the next section, we'll explore the challenges that first-time home buyers face in this market. Buying your first home can be tough, especially when mortgage rates are higher and home prices are rising. For many first-time buyers, the biggest hurdle is coming up with a down payment. In 2025, the average down payment for a home in the US is about 20%, which can be a huge barrier for younger buyers or those without significant savings. Understanding these regulations and the environmental impact of a home is crucial before buying in 2025. As we wrap up, let's take a look at whether buying a home in 2025 is worth it and what factors to consider before making that final decision. Is buying property in 2025 a good idea? If you're ready financially and plan to stay long-term, it could be a smart choice. But with higher prices and mortgage rates, it's tougher for first-time buyers. Make sure to think about your budget and future plans. If you found this helpful, like, share, and subscribe for more tips on real estate.